Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's do another round of spring candle reviews. And we are going to be focusing again today on some Kringle spring releases. Kringle has put out a lot of spring, summer type fragrances over the last couple of months. And I have certainly done quite a bit of shopping over there. So that's why I am focusing a lot more of these candle reviews on Kringle right now. A lot of what I'm seeing with some of the other candle companies that I typically frequent, such as Bath & Body Works and Homeworx, a lot of those are kind of re-releases for the spring and summer. So I was kind of hoping to look at some new stuff. So Kringle was giving me some new, so I spent a little bit more of my money there recently. And I was particularly interested in the release of the 100% soy limited edition 3-wick candles that are coming out right now. I picked this one up when the first round was released. There were a couple of fruity scents I was interested in. There were a couple of gourmands, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today, are those scents. I will be putting two of the fragrances, specifically the vanilla cone as well as the donut worry, together in the next review because I've actually already reviewed those fragrances. But I want to re-review the performance, if you will, in the 3-wick format, because the last time that I tried either of those two scents, it was in the 2-wick soy format. So this style of container here. And for me, I find that I get a lot more strength and throw out of the 3-wick candles from Kringle than I do the 2-wick. So I thought it was at least worth talking about those scents or those fragrances again, just from the standpoint of the performance now that they are available in a 3-wick 100% soy formulation. I was really excited for Kringle to make the changeover from the soy blend to the 100% soy because I have tried the soy blend in the past from Kringle and didn't find it to be the cleanest burning. And that's something that I talk about quite a bit here on my channel. Honestly, that's a lot of my beef with, or was, because they're doing a little bit better, but that was a lot of my beef with my Bath & Body Works candles in recent years, is they were just quite sooty and messy. I was dealing with a lot of puny wick syndrome, things like that. But with the Kringle soy formulation, I just feel like I don't ever have to babysit these candles in any kind of way. And that's mostly my experience with the 2-wick, but I can tell you now that that is also my experience with the 3-wicks as well. I try not to burn the 3-wicks for more than about 4 to 5 hours at a time. If I go a little bit beyond, it's still okay. But the 3-wicks do burn faster. So that is something worth keeping in mind. If you are looking for a slower burning option, I would still stick with the 2-wick. But with that extra wick, you are going to go through this wax a little bit faster. So I think that's worth keeping in mind. But overall, I'm really pleasantly pleased with how these are performing in the 3-wick format. So let's go ahead and talk about the first scent. And this is Sweet Cherries. All right. Admittedly, I am both kind of in love with, but also in a way disappointed in this fragrance. Nothing wrong with the burn. We'll talk about that at the end. But the fragrance itself, I have a little bit of disappointment in. And I think it has to do with what my expectations were, even though logically I looked at the fragrance notes and was like, this sounds very floral. In fact, this sounds 100% floral. But I see these perfectly adorable cartoony cherries on the label. So maybe it's going to surprise me. Spoiler, it did not. This is absolutely pretty much, I would say, 99% a floral fragrance. So if you are looking at this one and thinking, oh yes, cherries, it must smell like sweet cherries, which is what the name would imply, but no, that's not what this is. You gotta enjoy florals to enjoy this scent. So let's go ahead and talk about the fragrance description and the notes. I'll tell you what I smell, and then we'll get into like the burn. All right, the scent description reads, sweet cherries. Sweet fruit and floral blossoms bring spring aromas to your home. So kind of a basic description there. The top notes are cherry blossom, floral, and jasmine. The mid notes are tuberose and fruit, and the base is wood and amber. I'm not going to mention too much about the wood and amber because I really don't actually detect that in this fragrance. I'm sure that those notes are in there, and I feel like they probably play a supporting role for the florals in here to kind of amp them up and maybe add a touch of warmth to these florals, because I do think that this comes across as a more welcoming, warm type of floral. And luckily it is a sweeter floral, which is what my personal preference would be. But let me tell you what I smell here. In terms of the notes that are mentioned, I definitely pick up cherry blossom. Reminds me a little tiny bit of the Japanese cherry blossom scent from Bath and Body Works that we are all like overly familiar with, because man, for years Bath and Body Works was pushing that scent. So I do pick up that cherry blossom note for sure. It's definitely perfumey, definitely potent. I mean, cherry blossom, especially the Japanese cherry blossom from Bath and Body Works, it's quite pungent. So I definitely pick that up in here, but it seems toned down a little bit. I definitely smell jasmine, absolutely smell jasmine, and tuberose. Actually, I think for me, it's kind of a tie between the cherry blossom and the tuberose in terms of what florals hit me the most. The tuberose is really well done. Tuberose, I think, can be headache inducing. I have smelled some tuberose candles in the past that really came across as almost cloying to my nose because it's a very sweet, again, pungent floral. But the tuberose in here smells a little bit more subdued, but it is absolutely there. So if you happen to hate that particular floral note, skip this because it is quite prominent in here for sure. And in terms of the fruit that is mentioned, I will say all of these florals that are in here are certainly quite sweet in their nature. I don't think this is just a pure floral fragrance. There's definitely some sweetness around it. And maybe it's the implied sweetness of the cherries that I'm getting here. You know what this fragrance kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of a fragrance that I feel like Tom Ford would put out. I was recently at Nordstrom's in downtown Portland smelling through some of the Tom Ford fragrances. Tom Ford isn't cruelty free, so I don't actually purchase those fragrances, but I was kind of interested in some of the cherry fragrances that Tom Ford offers. I have a dupe from Dossier of the Lost Cherry, which is a really great dupe. I believe it's called Ambery Cherry. But there is a cherry smoke as well as an electrified cherry. And this scent here, like the composition of it, kind of seems like something that Tom Ford would like crank out in a perfume, to be totally honest. Like it is definitely, the focus is on the floral, like it's very perfumey in that way, but there's sweetness to it. Now the cherry smoke is kind of its own beast. I feel like that one, it's very, if you ever have the chance to like check that one out, I think you definitely should. It's very, very unique. Definitely more of like a fall winter cherry type scent, but the electric cherry, that one also has, I think it's jasmine Sambac that's in there. It has jasmine in it, and just really, really well done. But they have the cherry in there to add the sweetness to those floral notes in a lot of those Tom Ford cherry fragrances. And I feel like that's what's happening here. So this to me screams like, honestly, like it could be a Tom Ford perfume. And yeah, I really kind of like it in that regard. I am disappointed that it was not a straight up cherry scent. I gotta be honest in that respect, because I was really hoping to have a sweet, juicy cherry scent to put into the kitchen during the summer months. But that's not what you're gonna get from this. So if you are at all looking at the notes and thinking like, oh, maybe I can ignore the tuberose, maybe I can, you cannot ignore any of those floral components, you guys. Not in this one. This is a floral scent that is, that leans sweet floral. And the sweetness could come from definitely the florals that are selected for this one, but also, you know, that fruit that they tossed in there, which probably in all likelihood is just this like a sweet cherry type juice scent. So anyway, performance overall, 2 big fat thumbs up. You can see that I am now past the halfway point. The wax is not discolored in any kind of way. There is, and it's going to be hot. So, but there is zero like soot, just clean as a whistle, you guys. This formula is so incredibly clean. Oh, I just got a little, do you see that little streak there? I think that was some residue from the wick clippings. Here's the thing that I will say about these 3 wick candles. I don't feel like I always have to trim the wicks on the 2 wicks, but with the 3 wick formulation, I feel like I have to trim the wicks between each burn. I don't mind that, but it is a little bit more work than the 2 wick. That being said, this is way stronger, like way stronger than the performance of most of the 2 wicks. I'm fine with the performance of the 2 wicks. They are a little bit more subtle, not quite as in your face, but they're there, like nice, solid, medium throw. This one leans more into the like medium high category for me. The strength and throw of this one, I'm gonna put it like an 8. It is quite strong, you guys. And if you are at all averse to florals, or you're new to florals, or you are not sure about them, definitely make sure that you like the fragrance notes here, because you're gonna smell this throughout probably the bulk of your house. We have open concept, high ceilings in here, and this one travels almost throughout the entirety of the downstairs. And I cannot put this one in my entryway because it completely takes up the upstairs of the house with the way that the airflow works here. I cannot put this one in the entryway. I actually really like this one in my dining room because it manages to escape the black hole that is my dining room. That is the most, I guess, enclosed room in the downstairs of our house here. And it busts out of there like without an issue at all. I can smell it in the entryway. I can smell it in the family room at the back of the house, even when it's in the dining room. It's very rare for a fragrance to be able to do that. And I'm just stressing that for you because if you are someone who likes the lighter florals, if you like lighter scents, do not get this fragrance. You are going to probably get a headache. That being said, I really like this one. I actually see myself maybe picking up another one at some point this spring or summer. Is this hoard worthy to me? No, but I'm also not someone who really gravitates towards florals as like the norm. But I really appreciate this one. And I think the reason I do appreciate it is because I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Ford puts out something very similar to this in their little cherry collection that they have here shortly. So I don't know, Mick, you might want to protect your smell here. I think this is really lovely. It's different for me. I'm disappointed that it's not a cherry scent, but I will have my fingers crossed that Kringle can come out with a more straight up fruity type scent. Maybe in a cherry fragrance for this summer. If not this summer, hopefully next year at some point, because I do think there are a lot of people who love cherry fragrances, especially during the spring and summer, and I think it would sell quite well. So anyway, there's my plug for an actual cherry scent. Fingers crossed we get it at some point, but I am not disappointed in this one. I'm actually quite pleased that I picked it up and kind of fought against the urge to not get it just based on the fragrance notes. Let me know your thoughts on Sweet Cherry in the comments down below. Stay tuned for some more candle reviews coming up a little bit later on today. I appreciate you being here. Please give this video a big fat thumbs up if you found it helpful. Check out the description box for a link to shop with Kringle Candle and a discount code. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.